Like, bro, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm good, Klugi. Yeah, me good? Wow, you insane. Oh my god.
What you just witnessed is PzZZang, mechanically one of the best one tricks on their champion in the world, if not top 3. The only others even in that realm are like, I don't know, a Relking and Beifang Kiana, which is subjective of course, but to say I'm a PzZang fan is an understatement. Last year, he was the channel I watched the most on YouTube. He's just a demon and does things on his champ no one else can. He wins literally unwinnable situations. So you can imagine my tangible disappointment when I read that he is leaving League of Legends. Now, let me explain what this means, why, and a few things that have led us here. Now, before PzZang himself told the reason for his departure, there was community speculation that it might have been about money, but this isn't the case. PzZang and his team upload most days over 3 channels, his Korean, English, and VOD channel, and they all get roughly around 30k views each, with some being outliers and going more. And on top of that, he'd get support through his streaming and probably even has some other community setup that I'm unaware of. So this hypothesis was dispelled pretty quickly. He spoke about the actual reason on stream like 2 days ago. He'll have military service coming up, which is mandatory in Korea and something basically every Korean male creator, streamer, or pro player has to plan their life around. And rather than half run the channel through his enlistment, he'd rather step back now because his interest in League had already been fading for a while. The read from his community, who watch him closely, is that there were other elements also adding up. Twitch pulling out of Korea, frustration with the current state of mid, where supports are just like perma roaming and impacting the lane, and honestly, just having to play Yasuo top for months on end, which as a one trick has gotta wear you down eventually. I mean, not gotta, I'm a one trick top laner. It does wear you down eventually. One commenter also said he really didn't like playing Yone and the current state of Yone, and another pointed out his champs have basically had the same dull items for ages while other roles kept getting their shiny new toys. So whatever the exact combination, he'd already stepped away for a full month between like March and May. So the passion draining out isn't exactly new. On his YouTube video following that, he pinned a comment that said, setting the video aside for a moment, since some of you couldn't catch today's live stream, here's the short version. I'm going to be wrapping up my YouTube activity with the video going up this weekend being the last one. I'll go into the details in that final video and in a community post. Thank you all as always for watching. It's been really hot lately, so take care in the heat. Thoughtful PZ. But there's one more aspect, and kind of a pretty big one, to this story that I actually didn't know. I obviously can't understand Korean, so there was a fair bit of lore that I had missed. So shout out to Othinus8 from the Yasuo main subreddit for leaving this comment. That was my source. In this wall of text, he covered 2 situations PzZang was part of that would have been putting community pressure and stress on him. And I actually covered one of these when it happened like a couple years back. It's crazy, it was already years. The editor will have the video on the screen. If you want more details, it'll be in the description. But basically, PzZang locked Yasuo and his jungler, which is now HLE support Delight, got filled and held last pick, and then he picked Diana. When PzZang saw who it was in loading, he flamed him really hard, saying even pros should be fined or banned for holding last pick while filled and not dodging. And then Delight went on to get a penta later in the game, but they still lost. So because of that, PzZang got a ton of shit and pretty much had to apologize like a week later. Then in February this year, another incident of the same nature. PzZang got filled support, asked his top and mid to swap, and they both refused. Then, when it was his turn to pick, he locked in support Yasuo. And in Korea, there's a name for this kind of pick. I think it's pronounced Abeijira. I could be wrong, which is kind of like a last pick troll lock design to either bait your team into dodging or just have a free loss. So it kind of sounds like the Korean version of a dodge chicken. But the mid he'd asked to swap was ShowMaker, who was streaming and was live. And you could see the second the Yasuo support locked in champ select, he was already annoyed. After the game had a rocky start, he watched PzZang fight 2v1 bot with no ADC and die, going, shouldn't that really be reported as an intentional troll? Then he watched him not even use wind wall in a 3v2 and the game force surrendered at 15:30. And I dug hella for a long time to even find this clip. So if you appreciate this content, please be sure to subscribe. Now, ShowMaker's reaction was the thing that made the community really pay attention to the situation, because ShowMaker, as we know, is one of the most easygoing and funny pros around. He usually just laughs trolls off with some cheerful remark and moves on. But this time he sat there pretty frustrated, visibly holding it all in.
아니 포지션을 변경하라고? 뭐야? 싫어요. 아니 다 찌르래. 서포트 안 되면 이 자식아. 아니 서포트 야수 박지 말고 다 찌르라고. 아니 뭐야? 예? 아니 서포트 야수 뭐야? 아니 이거 그냥 리포트 해야 되는 거 아니야 진짜 고이트를로? 아씨 어떻게 이기라고 게임. 장막 없어? 아 진짜 개짜증난다 진짜. 형 개역겹다. 뭐야? 장막 왜 없어? 왜 장막 안 쓰는 거야? 개꽁패 뭐야 이거 진짜. 아니 뭐야 이거. 푸제짱인데? 와 제짱이 형 개비호감이네. 개역겹다 그냥.
So when a guy that chill is that pissed, people, especially dedicated Korean fan bases, take notice. And because PzZZang was in streamer mode, ShowMaker didn't know who it was until the post-game report screen. And once he saw the name, he basically said on stream that PzZZang was, quote, really unlikable, just disgusting. Now, to be fair to PzZZang, I actually kind of get a part of this, or his side. With the role protection system and Aegis of Valor, dodging would have cost him more LP than the loss, probably. And next lobby, he'd just get stuck right back on support anyway. So choosing to play it out isn't entirely crazy or baseless. But personally, I'd take ShowMaker on a major support over Yasuo support any day. And I think if PzZZang had just communicated that he was off role and couldn't really play anything else, this would have gone very differently. He probably could have just locked Janna and stood next to his ADC for 25 minutes, but I digress. It's kind of more that once he was in the game, he obviously wasn't playing at his best. And his response afterward is where it circled back to the Delight thing. PzZZang told a pro he should be banned for a filled last pick, a pro who then actually performed on it, but was now doing a version of the same thing himself. So on April 30th, he posted to his community tab, but that wasn't really an apology, kind of just more of a statement. He acknowledged the game had been spreading again through like shorts in the community. He admitted he didn't play well as support and that the play was on him, but he insisted he had zero intention of deliberately throwing or trolling. He'd made the choice he could in that moment, it just didn't turn out to be a good one, and he wasn't going to explain further, he'd just focus on playing as usual. And the comments were locked to subscribers and members only, and there wasn't a single sorry in there anyway, to ShowMaker or otherwise. Now, the grand scheme of things, none of this is really that deep, especially to Western players and the Western community. This sort of stuff happens all the time. These are spats with other players, a bad game and a stubborn comment, not actually anything totally malicious, but it's stuff like this that tends to stick in Korea specifically. And it added to a perception some of the scene already had of him, that he's kind of a bit ego-y and doesn't admit when he's wrong. It even got parodied. Zed streamer on Zed, who I also watch his videos, dropped a Zed support guide video. That was kind of an obvious jab at the whole thing. But despite all of this, the consensus on his videos recently, talking about his departure, is still overwhelmingly warm, mostly just people wishing him well on whatever's next. Which brings us to the final detail of this chapter, which is a community post he put up 15 hours ago confirming he's stopping League and ending the channel. He'd meant to wrap this week, but scheduling pushed it, so he'll post through next week and then close it out with the final details coming in his last farewell video. Now, thankfully, we normally see like pros and streamers come back after their service, and PzZZang is only 25, so he's still got plenty of juice left in him if the break from League reignites his passion for it. Either way, it's been an absolute pleasure watching him, and I can't wait until we can do it again. Oh, and just quickly, one last little thing, because I found this out while researching for this video. If you were ever wondering where his name comes from, PzZang goes back to when he was a Zed main known in the community as Project ZChan before he revealed himself as Pro ZChan in a YouTube Q&A. So that's the PZ, Pro Z, or Project Z, and the Zang is just Zhang, which is Korean slang for the best or the top or boss or king of something. So the whole name's basically flexing the best. Fitting. Anyway, if you appreciate the work I do here, a sub would go a long way, and just a huge thanks for the support lately and for, of course, watching. Bye.